they were sentenced to 7 years imprisonment, hard labor. And that's what KIMATHI is referring to here. So let me go back and read the rest of it. We will fight them, compatriots. Let those who have guns use them. Let them who have spears use them. Let those who have swords use them. And let those who have panga is as I said earlier, the machete, the Kiswahili word for machetes, and arrows, use them. Cowards should be eliminated. It is better to die fighting than to compromise our struggle for independence. Our basic aims are: 1. To overthrow colonialism and foreign domination. 2. To win national independence and form our own government. 3. To abolish forced labor, colonial taxes, and racial oppression. And 4. To create a new society based on democracy. Compatriots, arise. Resist foreign occupiers. Let me go to another section. All right, this is a document released October 23, 52 by the Central Committee of the Kenya Land and Freedom Army. And it's called Voice of New Africa, and basically sending a warning to the British colonial authorities. You must feel very happy at the outward success of your cruel operation. You arrested our leaders and a lot of other people. Thousands of Africans leading a normal life have been stopped, searched, beaten, humiliated, and arrested. Creating the emergency, you have brutally treated us, and now you cannot claim democracy and freedom. Fascism has come to Kenya. We have been robbed of our freedom. You have destroyed our press by arresting our editors and suppressing our newspapers. The brutality and oppression, the show of force, and the rule by the gun will not stop us from our goal. You cannot end our political wish by arresting our leaders. We have many more men with brains and will continue to fight you and achieve our freedom. This is the voice of New Africa. So I'm just reading from parts of it, not the entire document, because I want to try to touch a little bit from as many parts as possible. This is another document called New National Regulations. And also I won't read the entire document. I'll just read toward the end, actually. Below are the new regulations. No African shall pay taxes to the white man and his government. No African shall be employed by the white man in towns and or in the rural areas. 3. No African shall obey the laws of white man or seek protection from his government. 4. No African shall join the Home Guard, KAR, and police forces unless he is working as undercover for the Mau Mau Underground. And the Home Guard basically were militias, civilians trained into militias and armed by the British from the rural communities, from the villages. The King's African Rifles, as I said earlier, was the colonial army, was Africans commanded by Europeans. And in the case of this resistance, they were drawn not only from Kenya, but even from Uganda. So Idi Amin, for example, was a soldier who fought against the Kenyan resistance. And the same Amin, who later on gained infamy as the Ugandan dictator during the 1970s. And some were brought from what was then Rhodesia, in addition to the British troops that were flown in. It's remarkable, they had given this overwhelming show of force, plus the superior weapons, plus the bombings from planes, that the Kenya Land and Freedom Army were able to sustain their resistance for almost 10 years. Okay, point number 5, no African is allowed to trade with the white man or establish any economic cooperation with him. And number 6, Taxation Act. From January 1954 onwards, Africans shall start paying taxes for the development of their country to the Kenya Defense Council. Only women and children are exempted. This act also applies to all Europeans, Asians, and Arabs who reside in the country. And the Kenya Defense Council, of course, was the military component of the Kenya Land and Freedom Army. So essentially they're saying that we are taking over the affairs of running Kenya. I want to read also briefly, not the entire letter, actually I'll just read toward the end because it's a long letter, to Georgy Malenkov, the Soviet leader. It's in the book itself, it's about 4 pages, so I'll just read the last 2 or 3 paragraphs from the 4th page. Our generals, Matenjagwa, Batabani, Gachuma, who first agreed to peace negotiations, were killed. We therefore insisted that any peace negotiations should not take place without representatives from free nations of the world, Egypt, Russia, India, etc. For and on behalf of the 6 million Africans who greatly honor me, I welcome any support and help from your government. Unless you give us such help, we shall all be killed by the British, who intend to inherit our land once they've killed us all. We are sure that your intervention in this conflict will bring a ceasefire in Kenya, and a happy life and a peaceful existence will return to us and to our lovely country. Can you keep silent while we are all destroyed? In conclusion, I would like to assure you and your good government that there is no such thing as Mau Mau in Kenya. Only a deep sea of slavery exists, a sea into which we have been dropped and are now struggling in. We shall greatly appreciate any support you will offer us. Yours, FM, initials FM standing for Field Marshal, DEDAN KIMATHI. And yes, he was referred to as the Field Marshal and occasionally even Sir. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with this. KIMATHI and the Kenya Land and Freedom Armies duplicating the same ranks and titles that the British imperial colonizers were using in Kenya. Let me read from a letter by KIMATHI to Sir Frederick Crawford, May 23, 1954. This is the acting governor in Kenya. Dear Sir, the consistent murder of unarmed Kenyans, the administration of an anti-Mau Mau oath to the peasants in central Kenya and the Rift Valley, the imposition of a dusk to dawn curfew throughout the country, the confiscation of our livestock, the burning of our homes, and the destruction of the crops in the field is clear evidence that the principal intention of your government is to use atrocities to force our people to submit to your inhuman rule. To put it in simple language, we consider you, the Chief Native Commissioner, the PCS, that's probably provincial commissioners, the DCs, that's probably district commissioners, and the colonial chiefs as our principal enemy, and we will make every effort to destroy you. Finally, we want to make it clear that the majority of our people support Mau Mau against your government, which is based on oppression and exploitation. So occasionally in the communication, they also refer to themselves as Mau Mau because that is the term that ultimately had become pervasive in Kenya. Okay, so maybe I can find one or two other sections to read from. All right, so this is what I want to read. At one point in 1954, one of the leaders of the resistance, called General China, was captured by the British. And he was railroaded in a kangaroo court trial and sentenced to death by hanging. And he became a collaborator, or at least cooperated with the British in trying to get the other resistance fighters to surrender, and also probably provided them with information in terms of locations and deployment of the fighters in the forest. And he also sent a letter urging DEDAN KIMATHI and the other fighters to surrender. And this is the reply that KIMATHI wrote. And he wrote the reply directly to the British colonial authorities. And I just read parts of it. These are the answers to your questions. 1. If the British forces withdraw from the countryside, we will not kill the Tatakla Bururi, referring to the collaborators and the British colonial army. The basic reason is that we know many of them are victims of British propaganda. Generally, we believe in reconciliation and harmony between races. 2. Many Africans, including those who are helping the British government in this war, generally long to see peace restored in the country. We believe that the unconditional withdrawal of your armed forces from the country, particularly from the African reserves, will restore peace in the nation and cooperation among the people. 3. Those of other races, especially Indians and Arabs, who have sided with your government in this war, will have to leave the country, together with white settlers, when we regain our self-government. The rest have nothing to fear. They are welcome to stay. 4. I don't lead terrorists. I lead Africans who want their self-government and land. I lead them because God never created any nation to be ruled by another nation forever. Furthermore, we cannot allow anybody to deprive our birthright. If anyone wants to take our birthright away, he has first to kill all of us. Terrorists are persons who commit evil deeds, while we do the opposite. Of course, the colonial government is practicing terrorism and continuing to commit barbaric acts against our people. Hence, it has no right whatsoever to call us terrorists. So this is from part of the letter in response to the demand that he surrender to the British colonial authorities. So I think I will stop at this point. As I said, the book is called DEDAN KIMATHI Speaks by Maina Wakinyati, M-A-I-N-A. Wakinyati, Wa means off. Kinyati is K-I-N-Y-A-T-T-I, and it's available via Amazon. I said I was going to do one of the podcasts regarding the coronavirus pandemic on Africa. I'm going to probably do that as my next podcast, and also discuss Tanzania, whose president, Magufuli, just died last week. And of course, he was prominently in the news on many occasions as a quote-unquote coronavirus denier in Africa. So I want to put some of that in context as well in my next episode. So I want to thank all of you, comrades, sisters and brothers and friends. Stay strong, stay healthy, and remain Pan-African. See you soon.